Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Here we are, Gem Guides Part 3 already. Crazy. So let's get into it. In this one, I want to talk about more expensive ways to get large amounts of gems. Obviously, when you hit late game, you're making a lot of money. One of the things that you're going to want to do at some point in time is transfer over gold to gems, because gems is something that allows you to make bigger upgrades, unlock all the slots and all the furniture, rush your upgrades, like all the things that needs to be done in order for you to reach the late game pretty much needs to be done with gems, and gold becomes a lot easier to come by when you get to the late game. And so this is something that the majority of players will want to do at some point, but it's getting more and more difficult as time goes on, as more people have more gold in game. So let's talk about it. I'm going to show you guys some screenshots, some things that I've done, some thoughts that I have, and hopefully you learn something. So let's get into it. Let's hop over to market, and we're just going to look at chess for a minute. So as you can see, chess, as many people know, is one of the main methods that people are going about getting a lot of gems. And so we've talked about this lots. We talked about it a bit in previous gem guides, so I don't want to talk about it super in depth, but basically there's more keys than there are chests, especially with the lower levels. And so a lot of people are noticing that these chests have no gold offers and often only have gem offers. And so this is obviously a way that lots of people are getting gems, but what does that look like? How does that actually work? So let me show you and we'll go from there. So in this example, you've got golden chests. This screenshot's from quite a while ago, and so these chests were not selling for as much as they are now in terms of gems. So these ones that you can see down here that are selling for gems, those are selling for 4 gems each as far as I remember. And then the ones in the middle are actually a request, as you can see there. So I'm requesting 37 of them for whatever the gold rate that I was getting. And then these 13 are ones that I had just bought with a request that I was then selling for 4 gems again. And so right when the event finished, I was able to get a really good rate for requesting them and then selling them right away. So I was doing this really quickly. So as you can see here, more selling for gems. Those 37 that I requested have then filled, and then all those ones that I've been selling right beside, as you can see, have sold for gems as well. I just found a really good window where the prices were excellent. I actually dropped about $1.5 billion gold into gems at probably 200K per gem, just because I had found a really good rate. So as you can see, that continued 100, so 200, 200. So these were all selling for 4 gems each, and I was buying them at probably about $1 million per chest. Let's move on to a different example. So as you can see here, frozen chests I was selling as well. And so essentially I was able to request these for max gold. The max gold on a frozen chest, the tier 2 chest, is only 50,000. But I had a couple of days where I wasn't playing, where I was away on vacation or something. So I was buying these chests and just allowing the offer to fill over like a 2-day period of time. And then as that was filling, I was able to sell them for 2 gems a piece afterwards. So it was pretty much 50K per gem, but it just took a lot longer of a period of time. But I had the time because I was on vacation and super AFK. So it just helped a lot to be able to do that. So the tier 6 ones, this was an interesting one. I've talked about it a lot. As you can see, I only have 2 left there. But these chests were down to 200K at one point. So I filled up my inventory. I had over 500 of them, knowing that probably eventually these are going to go up. So this screenshot was actually right after, I think, a Lost City of Gold event or something, where people were getting keys for them, but no one was getting chests for them. So I knew that the demand for chests was going to go up. So I'm selling these for 3 gems each, 2 after tax, and these costed me about 200,000 each. So I'm getting a lot of gems, 400 gems in this case, and they cost me about 100K each. So this one is the slimy chest, so the tier 3 chest. I'll show you what a request is going to look like and how to actually do it, but this is just an example. These are selling for 3 gems each, 2 after tax, and there's another 400 gems. Another example, these are the limestone chests, the tier 4s, which were selling for 4 gems each as well, after tax. More slimy chests, 100 gems per stack, and more of the limestone chest. So let me show you how this actually works and we'll go from there. So here's an example. So these slimy chests, they're obviously selling for 3 gems here. There's no gold prices. So what a lot of people are going to be doing is they're going to be going into here. They're going to be creating a request. They're going to go into chests and they're going to go slimy. I want 50 of them. I'm going to buy them essentially for max gold, 500,000. And if I put them up for 48 hours, eventually this order is going to sell. So I press yes. This might take close to 2 days to sell. I don't really know. Sometimes it's only like 6 or 7 hours, and sometimes it takes almost the whole 2 days. So you don't really know how long it's going to take, and so that's the thing. Some chests are faster than others, and unless you're testing it yourself or you have people who you know who are doing it, sometimes you don't know what it's going to look like. But essentially, these have cost me 588,000 each when they sell, and then I can go create offer. When I have all the chests, I only have 2 right now, for 3 gems, leave that in there. You can also do it not just for 12 hours, but you can do it for 24 hours and it doesn't change the ratio. So you can do it for longer. So obviously those are going to be much more likely to sell. Put those up and eventually these will sell for 3 gems. I'll get 2 each. So I'll get 4 gems out of this. So this is obviously a long term at this point. It used to be really, really fast, but these would buy for 588K. You're getting 2 gems out of it. So that's costing you almost 300K per gem. So obviously it's not a fantastic ratio by any means, but you gotta keep in mind that this is going to be one of the most reliable ways that you're going to be able to get gems out of it. So if you have, 300 million or something, you're going to be able to get 1,000 gems out of that. It may take a couple of days to do it, to transfer them over, but that's just the way that it works. So let me show you another example. So if you create a request for these limestone chests, which is one of the ones that's selling pretty huge right now, you put an offer up for 1 million. So that's 1.176 million. Put that up. These are eventually going to sell. And then if you look at, I actually don't have any right now, but if you look at what they're selling for right now, they're selling for 7 gems each. So after tax, that's actually 5 gems. That's how that works. And so you're able to get 5 gems for 1.176 million. So that's a little bit better than 300K per gem. If you're selling for 5 gems, which obviously is going to sell a lot faster because you're going to be at the front of the queue, you're getting 4 gems out of it, and that's essentially costing you 300K per gem as well. So that's one of the ways that people are transferring over a lot. These used to be a lot better, but now that there's no gold offers, I don't actually know what that's going to look like going forward. It seemed like the drop rate for chests was a lot higher over this last Lost City. So that was something that I was doing, was actually sending out as many parties as I could only to this, even when I got all the bars that I needed, so that I was able to get more chests and sell them. So I could sell these for essentially 11 gems after tax right now and get 30 gems out of it, no problem. People often use tier 9 enchants. Let's just look at blue ones for now, to transfer over gold to gems. As you can see, the ratios here are pretty well flushed out. Like the gem prices are consistent and the gold prices are consistent. Like everything seems like it's pretty streamlined. And so a lot of people will say, buy this for 6.2 million, put it up for 18 gems or 17 gems, get 14 gems out of it. But as you can see, that's like 400K or more per gem. So this is going to be a pretty quick, effective way to be transferring gold to gems. But as you can see, 400K per gem is going to get expensive real quick. But this is another way that people will transfer over. Some of the ones that are a higher rarity, you're not going to be able to do that same thing. Like here's one where you could do it and list for 31 gems or whatever. But this at max gold is 10 million, but 10 million gold is worth a lot less than 47 gems is on average for the market. So you're not going to be able to find these for a gold value very often. But obviously if you're able to get some items that are legendary for gold, especially the ones that are in demand, that's going to be really good for your gem count really quickly. But you're not going to be able to find those for gold very often. I mentioned this in the first gem guide, but I want to talk about it really quickly again. So we're going to look for a couple of different items and see if we can find some good examples of how these like higher tier items that are legendary, you may be able to get a pretty decent spread on them and make some profit. So let's look at some of these. So these tier 9 boots, which I craft all the time, if I craft one of these and sell it, let's say for 30 gems, That compared to putting an enchant on it, like let's say one with a fire enchant. This is obviously selling for a lot higher of a gem value than just selling the boot straight. So an option is for me to find a fire enchant, a purple fire enchant, put it on there and list it for more gems. So I've done that a couple times, just testing if I'm able to make a profit, and it has actually been fairly effective. So if you go over to enchantments and I look at purple tier 9 enchants and a fire one, it's going to cost me 47 gems. And so rather than me selling it for 30 gems, if I put something on it that cost me 47 gems, essentially this has now cost me 75 gems or 80 gems. But if I'm able to sell it for more than that in the market, then obviously I'm able to make a greater profit out of that than I would just by selling it for 30. But you have to keep in mind that the market's going to go up and down. You're losing taxes by buying and you're losing taxes by selling. And so if you're not able to get a big enough spread, you're not actually making anything long term. But you can use this kind of as a gauge, and if you're able to enchant things properly and get a good price for selling it, then potentially you can make some decent money on it. But as I talked about in the first guide, you also have to know what types of enchants different heroes are going to be looking for or that they're going to need, and then be equipping the items with the proper enchants to be able to get the most gems out of it. But it's definitely a way that's not going to be as consistent, but you can make a little bit of extra spread by enchanting things properly. I want to show you this as an example. So when I was looking to gear this hero, I wanted to put all legendaries, get the best enchants on it, all that kind of stuff. So I was looking at these Acts of the Fifths in the market, and they were fairly new at that point in time. And so just for one of these itself was like 600 or 700 gems without the enchants on it. So I was thinking, is that even remotely close to worth it? Because if you look at my other hero, he doesn't even have a legendary because these ones are so expensive right now that I haven't wanted to spend the gems on it. But this one in the market was 600 gems, but I actually found one with a fire enchant on it already for less than what the normal one was with no enchants on it. So often when you're looking in the market, and I've mentioned this previously, you finding a weapon with a proper enchant on it, you can often find that with actually less gems than it would cost you just for the normal one. So then you might be able to sell that down the road for more gems than what you bought it for, or be able to equip your heroes for cheaper. But you just have to know kind of what you're looking for in the market at that point. People will often use tier 9 blue enchants as a way to transfer over gold gems. But as we saw, the average was like 400k per gem or something like that. And so this is another option that people will often use to transfer over gold to gems. So when I talk next week about transferring gems to gold, like the other way around, one of the main things that I'm going to be talking about is using these types of items, normal tier 9 high value items, in terms of just the gold that you're going to get out of it from selling in shop or selling in market, as a way that people do that. And so you can take advantage of that on the other side, have these items and be selling them for gems in exchange for people who are trying to do it the opposite way. And so this is another thing that I just wanted to mention, where you can often find a decent ratio that you're able to do this. So people will use, let's say, a tier 9 enchant. This is costing you 740k. If you can sell it for 3 gems, which these sell very often for that, then you're getting obviously a lot better than 400k per gem. So this might be a better method consistently. Some of these as well, if you're able to sell it for 4 gems, you get 3 out of it. That's also about 400k. So we're seeing a theme here, consistently about 400k for some of these faster, reliable methods. I'm not sure why this one's 5 gems right now, but I could buy this, put it in for 4 gems, get 3 out of it, and I'm looking at more like 300k per gem on this item. Some of the ones that you're going to want to stay away from is something like the ones at the end that have like a 2 gem ratio here, because if you could get 600k out of it, but after tax you're only getting 1 gem out of it, that's obviously the worst possible ratio. So I would say if you're doing this to get gems, never ever sell for 2 gems for a tier 9 item. But some of these other ones that you're able to get 2 gems net out of, you're going to be looking at 300 to 400k. So this is often a good method if you've got a lot of gold, you're wanting to top up your gems, that people will often use to be getting gems consistently. The last thing I want to mention is that often when a bigger event is coming up, like a Tower of Titans or a Lost City, people are prioritizing equipping heroes a lot more than they are just through normal gameplay. And so if people are wanting to complete an event, but they don't have heroes high enough, they're going to be willing to pay more for equipment than they normally would. So these, like let's say elements that are legendary tier 9s, these will sometimes go down to 80 gems or 100 gems. But then during bigger events, they're going to go up in price. And often during a Tower of Titans, these spirits will be double the price that they were a week ago, just because of the timing of when people are looking for that item. It might actually be worthwhile to buy some of these enchants when you see them for less than 100 gems, and then wait until a Tower of Titans and try to sell them for more. You just have to keep in mind that even if you're selling it for like 120 gems or something, the tax that's taken off of there, you're not making any profit anyways. So you just have to make sure that you're not going to put yourself in a bad position by spending a lot of gems on something, hoping that eventually you're going to get something out of it, and then it doesn't pay off in the end. So that's why I definitely prefer methods such as chests, just because I know the gem value that I'm getting out of it. It's consistent. I know exactly how much it's going to cost me, and I'm not fooling around in terms of time trying to look at different things. But for you, you may enjoy that style of play, and once you understand the market, be able to take advantage of it. But just for me, it hasn't paid off super well long term, and so that's why it's just not something that I do. So anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about for this method. Hopefully you learn something and you kind of understand what people are doing late game to transfer gold over to gems. If you've got any questions or anything, please feel free to message me. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next time for part 4, when I talk about transferring over gems to gold and how to do that effectively and what you should be looking for. So have a great week, guys. Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.